Okay, welcome everyone to How to Create Your 2023 Game Plan. I'm McKenna Sage, and we are live here in the Master of Coaching Facebook group. And if you are, I've got some makeup under my eyes here. If you are tuning in here, please say hello in the chat and the comments so I can see and hear you if you're watching live. Even if you're watching the replay, go ahead and say hello in the comments so we can make this really interactive today. So obviously we're at a time of year, if you are watching this live, where everybody's going, oh my gosh, it's December, January's right around the corner. I can't believe another year has passed. And maybe you accomplished some dreams and goals this year, and maybe there were some things that you wanted to do and they didn't quite happen. Life got in the way. Hi, Lisa. Thanks for saying hello. Welcome, everyone who's still joining in. Go ahead and say hello in the chat so I know who's tuning in today, and let me know where you're tuning in from. So, again, how many of you relate to having big dreams and goals at the beginning of this year, and then December is here all of a sudden, and you're going, oh my gosh, right? Maybe I accomplished some of them, but a lot of them didn't really happen. If so, say I relate in the chat. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, hi, Toria from Austin, Maggie from Pittsburgh, Lisa in Crofton, Maryland. Awesome. And so, what we want to talk about is having a game plan, which is a clear and tangible plan that you can follow through the year to really make sure that you can actualize your visions and dreams, right? And so often people have visions, ideas, goals, but they stop there, or we kind of set those New Year's resolutions and then come into January, it falls off, right? And so I want to really share with you over the years, I've been an entrepreneur now for over a decade, and I have built two very successful businesses, one to six figures plus, one to the $500,000 mark. And over those years, I've really learned and honed a process for making goals and dreams happen. Okay, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So, first of all, why don't you type in the chat what is a big vision, dream, or goal that you have for the year ahead? Victoria, I know we just had a call. We were talking about some of your visions and dreams. Maggie, Lisa, anyone else watching, I'd love to hear what is a goal or a dream you have for the year ahead that you'd love to make happen. So, the first thing is really starting with the vision. Okay, so let me just wait and see if you guys type any of your. There's always a little bit of a delay, so. Okay, Lisa starting a business, Toria quitting my corporate job, woohoo! And Lisa, when you say starting a business, do you you know what kind of business yet? And then how will you know when you've successfully accomplished that? Is it making a certain amount of money? Is it just filing the LLC? Like, what would that mean to you to start that business? And then who else? Maggie, what's your dream or your goal for the year ahead? So I want you guys to imagine it's the end of next year. Okay, Maggie says getting my coaching business up and running. Awesome. So we're going to talk about making these even a little bit more specific. Tori, I know we've gotten specific with yours, what it would actually take to quit your corporate job, right? So Lisa, Maggie, we will go more specific here, and anyone else watching. So, but the first thing I want to talk about before we go into the tangible and measurable is, and you guys might want to write this down if you're taking notes on your phone or laptop or a piece of paper, is you want to start with your vision. So creating a game plan starts with vision. And what most people do when they're thinking about their goals is they're coming from their head. And the traditional way of goal setting, I find to be a very kind of like masculine or more linear approach. And there's nothing wrong with masculine and linear. In fact, I think goal setting is very powerful. But when we start there and we don't come from vision and desire first, then we don't have the kind of the juice and the motivation to really create what it is that we want, right? Has anyone ever experienced that? That's why we kind of peter out halfway through or partway through and we're like, eh. There's a couple different reasons. One is not having a clear enough vision and desire that pulls you forward. And the other one is having patterns that show up and get in your way. right? We all have patterns, be it overwhelm, self-doubt, procrastination, shiny object syndrome, always going for the next shiny object, right? What's another one? Perfectionism, needing it all to be right. So usually one of these two things is missing. Well, either the patterns are showing up or the strong, clear vision and desire isn't there yet. So that's where we need to begin. Okay. So start with vision instead of goals and from your head. And I'm going to tell a quick story about this, which is back in, I think it was early 2013, I believe. I was guided, or I was told about this visioning process by my mentor, Gigi Sage, and she told me how to do it, and I decided to lead myself through it. I was flying home from the holidays, and I did it on an airplane. I remember writing it out, and I saw clearly at the end of the year, like this vision of being in this house with all these people, and I had hit six figures in my business and my vision, um, and I had all these friends around me that felt like it just was this very connected, amazing feeling. And at that time, I was just starting out in my first business. I had not yet hit six figures, and I barely had any friends. I was living in San Diego. I didn't know almost anyone yet. And so I thought, I have no idea how this is going to happen, right? But it was so crystal clear to me. And as the year went on, by the middle of the year, I had like one friend. I had my boyfriend at the time, and I had one good friend in San Diego. And I told them about the vision I'd had. So my business was starting to take off, and I told them about the vision I had, and they said, well, why don't we create that and make that happen? And so we rented this house in the mountains outside of San Diego, and it snowed on New Year's Eve. And by that time, another 6 months later, we had invited all these different people, and amazing people came together. And it was this magical New Year's. And I had so many of my friendships to this day are people that came to that original New Year's. I just saw a couple the other day that's where they met, and they're still together 6, 7 years later, however long it, maybe even longer, right? 8 years later. So anyway, all this to say that that didn't come from my head. You ladies understand the difference there? It didn't come from like, oh, at the end of the year, I want to have friends and I want to have this in my business and I want to have. It came from my desire and from what was pulling me forward. And then I was able to go out and really create it. So that's why we want to start with vision first. Lisa says, I have a coaching LLC, but haven't done anything with it. I also have another vision for another business. I'm all over the place. Well, thank you for the honesty, Lisa. That's important, and that sounds like shiny object syndrome to me, right? So we always say you can do it all, but you can't do it all at once, right? You have to choose what's the direction you really want to move forward with. So Lisa, doing something like really getting clear on the vision could really help you with that. And by the way, ladies, if you're not already signed up, we have a vision workshop coming up 2 days from now on Thursday, the 15th of December. And it's during the day, but even if you can't be there live, we highly recommend coming live if you can make it happen. If you're in US time, it's during the day. Even if you can't make it live, I highly recommend signing up. You get the recording, you can keep it and watch it anytime, and then maybe you go through it like this weekend or something like that, because this is a really powerful time of year for visioning. So we're going to actually walk you through that process that I did to see, the end of my year and what I wanted to create and how I wanted to feel, and it's more in depth than I'm making it sound. So you can really come from that vision and that desire first. So if you're curious about that workshop, just type vision in the chat, and it's $25. It's a 2-hour workshop online. We're really making it more of a party, so it's going to be super fun. You're going to bring a glass of sparkling something and dress as the person you want to be in 2023. So if you're curious about that, type vision in the chat. Make sure we're friends on Facebook if you type vision, because otherwise I won't be able to message you. So like Lisa, I see you messaging me here. I think we're already connected, but if we're not, just make sure we are. Okay, so number one was start with vision instead of coming from your head. Number two is make it measurable. So once we come to the vision, then we can start to go, okay, what are my goals, right? Goals are those more tangible, measurable things that we want. So like Lisa, that's why with you I said, great, starting a business is a great goal or a vision. Maybe that's the vision, but the goal would be something more measurable, like I will have maybe you're not clear on this yet, which is fine, then maybe you come to the coaching workshop, but it's like I and it's best to even say it in the present tense. Like I have a successful coaching business bringing in $3,000 a month or more on or before December 31st, 2023. You guys get that? Or I have a successful coaching business that has brought in, I don't know what your first year goal would be, but 50,000 in revenue or more on or before December 31st, 2023, right? For Maggie, she says, I'm all over the place myself. I have all of those syndromes. Yeah, we all feel like we have all of them, right? And it's great to see what's your number one pattern that takes you out of the game. So same thing for you, Maggie, getting my coaching business up and running. What does that mean to you? What's that measurable, tangible goal that feels like a stretch but feels achievable? We don't want to go like pie in the sky. Like a lot of times people will say, I want to make 6 figures in my first year coaching. And that's, it's definitely doable. Some people do it. I did it my first year. I replaced my 6 figure income in about 8 months through coaching. But for many people, they're not yet fully ready to go like do what it takes to get to that 6 figures in the first year, or maybe it just feels too far out there that it doesn't even feel inspiring. It feels like demotivating. Have you guys ever set a goal that feels demotivating because it's so big? If so, type I've been there in the chat. So we don't want to do that, right? We want to make it a stretch, something that like stretches you, but also feels achievable. So Maggie, Lisa, anyone else watching, why don't you write your 2023, your big 2023, right now we're mostly talking business, right? Goal, but write it in something measurable. So it could be an income number, it could be a number of clients you want to work with, or it could be something else if you can think of something else measurable. So what do you want to have achieved on or before December 31st, 2023? I'm going to give you guys that language one more time. You want to write it in the present tense, like I have or I am, or the past tense, I created, right? So it's like it's already done. And then if you're using a number, like let's say it's again like a $50,000 income goal, if you're just getting started in your business, created $50,000 or more. We always want an or more in there, on or before December 31st, 2023. Why is this important? It seems like semantics, right? But it's really important to be very, very clear because this is the goal, the intention you're putting out there for your year, right? At least on the professional, the business side. So ladies, go ahead and write, and anybody watching, go ahead and write your 2023. We're going to make this interactive because I don't want you guys to sit back and just watch and walk away from this live and not have put it into action, right? So really write it out right now. What is your big professional goal or business goal for 2023? And again, we'll get more into the vision part of how it feels and like the themes and all these different things in the 2023 vision workshop on Thursday. So I'll be sending that to you, Lisa, and you, Maggie, and anybody else who wants it. Just type vision in the chat. We're going to go through a really powerful 2-hour workshop / party and do this process. But for now, I want you to come up with that goal, right? What is that big goal? Nobody's typing their goals in the chat. Maybe you guys are just agonizing over the wording here. Okay, Maggie says she's working at the same time taking notes. Response may be delayed. Okay, so while you guys are writing that out, I just want to do it. The reason I want to make this interactive, you guys, is because then I can make sure I can help you finesse the wording to really make sure it clicks. So don't just sit back and watch. Make sure you're engaging, okay? All right, once you've made it measurable, and by the way, I usually say you can have a lot of visions and goals, but you usually want to choose one main personal, I don't even use the word goal, I use the word game. One main personal game for the year and one main professional or business game for the year. Okay? Nina, in the UK, I think it would be 6 p.m., 6 to 8 p.m. I think I sent you all the info already in a message, right? So I think it's 6 to 8 p.m. your time. And if you can't be there live, you can always sign up and get the replay. All right, so one main professional goal, that's the main one we're talking about right now, and one main personal game or goal for the year. So like one of the women in one of our coaching programs has a fitness goal. You know, she wants to feel and look a certain way by the end of next year. So that's her big personal goal. Yeah. Why just one in each area? If we try to focus on too many different things, this is like Maggie was talking about, um, being all over the place, right? Or Lisa said, I have vision for another business and this business. It's like we've got to choose, because otherwise you start going getting energy in this place, and then you go over here and you get distracted, and you start working over here, and then you go over here and you get distracted, and you start doing a little bit here. And what happens to all those original things that you were working on? They don't move forward, right? So really, really important to get clear and really focus. Okay. So, Lisa, I've created a successful coaching business to bring in 75,000 or more on or before September 23. So good, so close, Lisa, to the wording. I would just tweak it slightly, all right? I would say, I have created a successful coaching business and brought in 75,000 or more in revenue on or before September 2023. And that's if that 75K or more is coming through your coaching business, right? I would say 75,000 or more in revenue from my coaching business. Like I would get that specific. You get the difference? Because otherwise you're telling the universe, I've created a successful coaching business. I've brought in 75,000 or more, but 75,000 or more could be from the coaching business. It could be from anything, right? So we want to be very specific. And I'm curious why September 2023, and we want to also say the specific date. So normally I would make it a year goal. Is there a reason you chose to do September? And I would say like September 30th or December 31st, right? So really, really get specific. This is really important, you guys, is things may evolve, but you want to be very clear about your intentions. Think about it this way. Have you ever gone, if you went to an ATM machine and you said, give me money, what would happen? You click the buttons, you're like, give me money, but you're not telling it how much money you want, right? It's not going to do anything. Now, this is a silly example, but you get the point, right? You have to go to the ATM machine and say, I want $100. And then, of course, provided you have that money in your account, it's going to give you $100. So the same way with goals, intentions, visioning, it's like if we just go, I want a successful business, the universe is like, what? What does that even mean? Successful business to everyone means something different, right? I want to buy this date. Okay, great. That's getting more specific. But what exactly do you want? Are you guys with me? If so, type with me in the chat so I know you're following. Okay. So once we've created your vision, right? Not from your head, from your heart, your soul, how you want to feel, what it's going to be like. That gives you that fuel, that desire to move things forward. Then we've made it measurable and written it out in the present or the past tense. And you've done that with one main professional goal and one main personal goal. Then there's a whole process I normally teach to chunk that down even more to 90-day games, one personal, one professional. What are you going to do in the next 90 days? And then you theme your months. It's a lot to get into right now. We'll see if we can get back to that, but I wanted to share a couple more things before we break it down that specifically. And part of the reason I don't want to go too detailed right now is that until you have that vision piece, that desire piece really locked in and crystal clear, you don't want to be making your goals. So it's kind of funny to be doing a goal setting class and then saying like, don't make your goals yet. I mean, you could make some of them, but you want to make sure they're aligned. All right. You want to make sure they're aligned. So Lisa has an initial thought on what her goal might be. Maggie does as well. I just saw that come through, Maggie, so I'll read that in a second. But I highly recommend if you ladies come to the vision workshop, you do the vision workshop and then you revisit your goals and make sure they're actually in alignment for you, right? So Maggie says, I'm going to have my coaching business plan in place, legalize my business, and have my certification in place. Okay. So I don't know what you mean by have my certification in place. You mean you'll have done a certification, or you'll be teaching a certification? And to me, that's a lot of different things. I would really look at your year goal, Maggie. Um, so not just by the 30, that's great. Those are more like, to me, those are more like steps on the path to something as opposed to what do you really want. I don't think you're sitting around going, I really want to have my business plan in place. I really want to legalize my business, right? I'm sure you want those things, but where's the desire? It's like by the end of next year, when you've done all that stuff, then what will have happened, right? So maybe it's that you've enrolled your first X number of clients by December 31st, 2023. Or maybe it's that you've made a certain amount of money in your coaching business by December 31st, 2023. So, what is the desire, right? Let's go to that. And why don't you write one more out, right? She says, LOL, no. Yeah, that's not where we're sitting around. Because remember, this is about coming from desire first. And we'll, again, go more into this in the vision workshop. Okay, so we've made it measurable. We've chosen the game. And now the next piece is about commitment, okay? Crystal says I shouldn't wait for the LLC then. I'm not saying don't wait for the LLC. She can still do all of those things. You see, she can create the LLC, make her business legal, do all that. But those are tasks. They're like what I would call milestones. They're not the measurable game. The game is what do you want? You see, when all that stuff is done, what's the result that she wants? So, Crystal, for you too, once you have your LLC, if that's something you're going to put in place, then what? What do you desire for the year ahead? You get the distinction there? Yeah, Maggie, definitely once you have some more time to think through, that'll help a lot. Okay, so sorry, I keep going back and forth between the comments and losing my train of thought. So the next piece is commitment. What are you really committed to? And this is why the desire piece is so important because in order to create something new or to reach that next level in your business, right? If we've done something already, then it's in our comfort zone to some degree, right? It's like if you've had a six-figure business before, then hitting six figures is relatively within your comfort zone, most likely, if you've done it in this current business, right? So I've made six figures plus for many, many years. I'm at about the $500,000 mark in my business. So that's pretty comfortable at this point. I know how to do that. I've done it multiple times. But anytime I go to stretch, whether that's in my financial growth or in some other area of my life or business, it could be just, branching into something new, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something new that I haven't done yet that I want to do. Let's say, writing books. So next year, I'm going to be writing books. And that's outside of my comfort zone because I haven't done it yet. And so whenever we go to stretch ourselves, right, if any of you are starting your businesses for the first time in the coaching world or something like that, then you're going to stretch yourself. And what's going to come up are fears and doubts a lot of the time, or patterns like we talked about earlier in the call, or just not knowing what to do to move it forward. And so all of those are things that you can get support with. But what I want to emphasize is that your commitment is the most important thing. Your commitment is the most important thing. What do I mean by that? When I decided I wanted to go into coaching and I was in my previous career making six figures plus, I was scared out of my mind to make a change and, make this like leap into something new and not be successful at it. And, I wanted to make a difference. I didn't want to just make money. I wanted to make a difference too, but I also needed to earn at a certain level to be able to make the transition. And I tried in early 2017, some of you know the story, to leave my previous career and jump into coaching, and I failed miserably. I got one client who didn't pay me very much money. I didn't really know what I was doing, and I was pretty decent at the coaching, but because I had a lot of training and experience in that already, but I didn't really know what I was doing in growing a coaching business. And so I had to go back to my marketing career. I was super embarrassed, and it was really disheartening. A year later, I decided to go for it again. I had a mentor lead me through a process to get really crystal clear on what I wanted, similar to the visioning we're going to do in that vision workshop this Thursday. And when I saw that, it was so clear and it pulled me forward. And I also looked at what would happen if I didn't go for it. And I was like, I'm not willing to not do this anymore. I saw I was having a lot of anxiety, I was having a lot of symptoms, and I saw them only getting worse if I continued to put this dream off. And so, what happened in that moment? Why am I sharing this story? Because in that moment, I saw I would do whatever it took to make this happen. I would put it all out on the line. I would stretch outside of my comfort zone. I would face my fears. I would get support. I would do what it took and absolutely keep moving forward and go for it. So my commitment level was 100%. I didn't know how I was going to do it all. I went out and I hired coaches and I got support, but I was 100% committed. And this is the next piece for all of you ladies, or if there's any gentlemen watching as well, is how committed are you? Right? And if you don't feel 100% committed, then again, maybe the vision piece isn't clear enough yet or strong enough yet that it's pulling you forward. Crystal, you say, I know exactly what you want. What is that? Share that with me if you're open to that. So, and then once you see that, on a scale of 0 to 100, how committed are you to making that happen? Right? Put it in the chat. Maggie, Lisa, all you ladies, how committed are you to that goal, to that dream, to that vision? And I don't want you to just put a nice high number to like say, oh yeah, I'm committed, right? I want you really to be honest with yourself. Maggie, that scares me. Tell me a little bit more about what scares you about that, Maggie. And I just had a call with a woman yesterday, and this was a really big thing for her. We walked through this. We did one of our free clarity calls. We do like a 30-minute free coaching session. And in that, it's about really getting you crystal clear on what do you want, what could stop you. We'll offer these also after the vision call on Thursday if it's something some of you are interested in. I have like 2 days left when I can do these before the holidays. So in the call, I really walked her through the commitment piece, and she saw she wasn't committed. And it brought up a lot of emotion. So Maggie, you're saying it scares you. Okay, the failure piece. Yeah, for her it was around the committing. And I said, listen, if you don't feel fully committed, there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't want you to sit in the indecision anymore. Even if you're 90% in, that 10% that you're not in is what's going to take you out of the game. You guys get that? So be honest. How committed are you right now to your vision, to your goals? It needs to be like no questions asked, 100% in order to get you there, because you are going to be stretching out of your comfort zone. You're going to be doing things you've never done. You're going to be facing into fears and challenges and all kinds of things, because that's the nature of growing, you see? And if you're not going to go all in, then you're kidding yourself. And that can be hard to look at. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I said, why don't you just take the pressure off? If you don't feel committed, then just take the pressure off and don't go for this for a while and see. Maybe it'll come back and you'll want to go for it later and you'll be ready to go all in. But that was the big shift for me in early 2018 when I said, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm going all in, 100%. So Maggie, you said failure, right? We all have that fear of failure, at least many of us do. But to me, there were two big ingredients when I finally made the shift and did it successfully. One was the 100% committed, all in. And the second one was getting support, getting the right kind of support, hiring the right coaches and mentors and people and I didn't have a lot of money sitting around to do that, right? I remember one of my early coaches, I put the first payment on a credit card and then I was like, but I was so clear, right, that this was what was going to get me to that next level. And it did. I made $35,000 out of a 10K investment with that coach. And then I've made millions since from what I learned working with them. So Crystal says, motivational speaker that sells digital courses is the main goal, but I'm open to coaching now. Beautiful. So When you say I'm open to coaching now, what do you mean? Do you mean like starting to coach people before you have the digital courses, or what are you talking about there? Ladies, I'm going to go a few minutes over. I know we usually do only half an hour today, but I have a few more things I want to share with you all, and I think we've got a good thing going here. So hopefully you can stick around for just a few more minutes. Um, and yeah, Crystal, let me know a little bit more about what you mean there by open to coaching now. Lisa, I'm 100% committed. However, I'm fearful of not having a process per se. Where to hire a coach that is best for me and I can trust? Yeah, I get that. What do you mean by having a process? Uh, you mean for your coaching or for the like growing your business, like the step by step to grow your business? After our conversation about how I was scared to do coaching, I'm trying to remember. Sorry, I have a lot of conversations. So you're ready to really go for the coaching, is what you're saying. Um, Beautiful. So that's huge. So Lisa's at 100% committed. So then Lisa, here's the thing is even if you have those fears, like I don't have the process, and again, go ahead and clarify what you mean by that. And then you don't know which coach to hire. It's a common thing, but then it's a matter of going out and going, I'm going to find that person, right? If you're ready to get that support, then looking for who do you have resonance with, right? And my best choices in hiring coaches have been when they same thing didn't come from my head, they came from my feeling or my intuition about who was the right person to work with me, not like who says they've got their who has the fanciest marketing, but when I would really come across someone and I'd be like, wow, I feel connected to this person, I would do their free call or whatever it was and invest in working with them because I felt that alignment and that resonance. So much of it is that. And you can always ask for referrals or look at testimonials or things like that in terms of the trust factor. Um, Crystal says, I've been literally coaching for free my entire life. Yeah, so it's time then, right, to step into charging for your coaching, big time. Lisa says, process to grow my business and how to find my clients. Yeah, that's super important to learn that piece. And I always say there's not one step-by-step process that's one size fits all. It's more about learning the skills that you need to succeed, right? And it's more about the process comes in of how you take someone who's curious about working with you and take them through a process to then be excited to enroll in working with you. That's kind of there's different processes there, and then the rest of it, the marketing, comes down to like learning different approaches and finding the one that really fits for you, which is how we always teach marketing and business in our programs. Is there is no one size fits all, and you don't need all that fancy marketing that's not actually getting clients for most people anyway. There's a simpler approach and really finding the way that works for you. Okay, I'm getting off on some tangents here, but I just want to answer all your questions. Maggie says 100% to succeed and face this fear that has held me for a long time and help others as well. I love that, Maggie. Good. So getting to that 100%, if you didn't know that before you got on the call today, then that's huge, you guys. If you really feel that 100%, and again, the vision workshop should give you more of the vision piece. And I don't think, Crystal, you were on yet. Are you coming to the vision workshop? If not, let me know. You can type vision in the chat and I'll send you that information. Because that's really, I think, the right next step for those of you in terms of really fleshing out that piece. And then from there, if you're curious or if you feel like you're already crystal clear on your vision, the next piece, if you are curious about potentially working with us, but there's literally no strings attached, would be to do one of those clarity calls, or as I call it also in the workshop this weekend, I'll call it on Thursday, a vision roadmap call. So it's really about seeing what are those next steps for you. And there's nothing for sale on that initial call. It's really a call to just coach you and work with you. And then from there, if I see that we could help you, then we would go into a separate call to talk about that. So I do a 2-call process for potential clients. So the first one is just literally a free coaching session. If you're curious about that call, well, if you're coming to the vision workshop already, come to that first, and then you'll have the opportunity to sign up there. If you know you're not going to come to the vision workshop, type clarity in the chat. And then we'll make sure to get you signed up for one of those clarity calls. Make sure you're all friends with me on Facebook if you're putting things in the chat. Okay. Lisa says it's the marketing aspect of selling me and where to sell myself. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, and that feels challenging, right? It's like, and even the word sales, how many of you get a little like iffy about the word sales? To say iffy in the chat. So I like to call it the art of the invitation. The art of the invitation, because it's about making really powerful invitations. Like, I've invited all of you on this call today to come to our vision workshop. And that's an invitation. You could call that selling, but the truth is, I really know and see the value for all of you in coming to that, because I know how powerful that process has been for me and for our clients, and that will absolutely help you get to that next step. So, and it's a value add, right? Or if I invite you to a clarity call, I'm inviting you to a free session where there's no strings attached and no sales on that call. So it's a powerful invitation for you, and then it also gives us a chance to get to know each other, and then I can invite you to that next call, to see if we want to work together, if I see that that's the right fit. So it's the art of the invitation in such a way that it never feels pushy or salesy. It really is only if it's like 100% a hell yes on both sides that you take that next step. Okay, back to creating your 2023 game plan. Let's wrap it up. So we started with vision. We made it measurable. We talked about choosing one personal and one professional main kind of goal or game you're going for in the year. And then we talked about the importance of commitment, of going all in. Last couple of pieces I want to say here. Start today. Start today. This is the time of year especially that is notorious for, I'll do that in January, I'll do that next week, and that becomes a pattern. It's not just this time of year. People say that all the time to me. Oh, I'll start that in a couple months. I'll get back to you and whatever. And listen, I get it. Sometimes there are unavoidable things or huge, but in my experience, that's usually a pattern, and it is the thing that gets in the way for so many of us. And so when I say start today, I don't mean you have to go like do everything today, because obviously we're about to go into, the holidays, Christmas, whatever you celebrate. However, take an action today that will move you in the direction of where you want to go. So you all being on this call is an action. If you sign up for our vision call, that's an action, because you're signing up, you're putting something on your calendar. And even if you can't be there live, like I said, sign up and put the replay, like put 2 hours in your schedule this weekend to watch the replay, so that you have that time already set. And or if you're like Lisa looking to hire a coach, then set up a call, set up with someone you're curious about working with, even if it's for next week or it's for January, but go ahead and set up the call. You guys see what I'm talking about? Is don't wait and go, oh, I'll get to that in January, because what happens when we do that? Something comes up. Life comes up. We get busy. We forget. We get another shiny object that pulls us off in a different direction. Is everyone relating to this? So whatever it is you want to move forward, your biggest dream or goal. It's like if you have a fitness goal for next year, don't wait until January. Go to a workout class before January 1st. Go to one. Put it on the schedule today. Go find the workout class and put it on your schedule. Start today. Do not wait. All right? And then finally, get support. So how often have you said that you're going to do something and you don't follow through? By the way, if you're all committed to doing one thing today that's going to move you forward towards your dream or your goal, type I'm starting today in the chat, so we can really hold that vision for each other, that you're all going to really go for it. And then getting support. So this is about, how often have you said you're going to do something and you don't follow through? Having support in the form of whatever form that means for you. I'm a fan of coaching, of course, because I'm a coach and I've hired many coaches, and it's what's made the biggest difference for me. But maybe you have some other way that you get that support. So it can be in the form of coaching, and the other thing is in the form of community, right? So like in our coaching, excuse me, coaching programs, a lot of them are group programs. And then you have that community aspect. Even when people work with me privately, I give them access to my group programs so they can get in there and they can be in the community of people that are all going for it, creating their visions and dreams. And this is so powerful because it's accountability, but it's not accountability like, oh, if you didn't do it, then we're going to say, oh, you didn't do it. And, you said you were going to, and yada, yada, right? I always say, I'm not your teacher. I'm not your parent. I'm here to hold you to your vision of the next version of you, of the business you are going to create, of the woman you need and want to be to create that, and not just your business, the life that you desire. And that's the accountability, or that's the kind of support we're talking about. And that's huge, to have people in your life who hold you to a higher vision for yourself. Sometimes a higher vision than you can even see or believe on your own. And that is 80% of it, ladies and gentlemen, if we have any, is the strategy is important. The action steps, okay, maybe not 80%. The action steps are a huge part as well, taking action. But the seeing the vision clearly and having support of people in your life who help hold you to that vision makes all the difference. It's what made the difference in my life. It's why I've had such a transformation in the last few years, and I'm so committed to helping others do the same. So from trying and failing to start my coaching business in 2017 to $500,000 a year in just a few years, that's a big change. And I'm such a fan of supporting other women to do your version of that, whatever that transformation is for you. So thank you all for being here. Any last questions before we go? If not, type 1 aha today. I see several of you are starting today. I love it. Type 1 aha from today. Or type maybe the action step. What's the thing you're going to actually take action on out of the call today? And then we'll get you over that vision workshop information. Those of you who asked for it right away, I would love to see you there. Even if you are, like I said, not able to make it live. I hope you are, because we will do some live coaching. And it's going to be super fun to either be coached or watch some of the other women be coached. And we'll guide you through the processes right there. But you can also, do that over the weekend if you can't make it live. All right, ladies. Well, you're all just typing vision again, so we'll be very sure to get that to you. Okay, Maggie says, writing my vision and commitment. Love it. Love it. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Have a wonderful Christmas. If I don't see you before then, we'll be back in January with some more lives. Thank you for being here.